Senator Cory Booker, thank you so much for joining us today. I am so appreciative. Thank you so much. I just wanted to start first. You guys are considering whether or not you're going to be heading home for a recess soon, but there is pressure right now coming from President Donald Trump to kind of get some of these key nominees out of the way. What are your thoughts?
Well, I wish we would stay and work with the House to get some real things addressed. Unfortunately, people's health care is put into really a crisis state with Americans losing health care and the millions and millions are really affecting the state of New Jersey in a significant impact. I wish we would stay and talk about issues and debate issues around public education, around the challenges we're facing with the cuts that are going to really hurt our seniors. So it's frustrating to me that people are leaving and that the House has left. As far as Donald Trump's nominees, that's our job. I'm willing to stay and do the substantive work. My frustration is that the nominees they've been putting forth, so many of them are highly political people that have basically flouted the law, and we should be staying and debating those as well. So again, I'm one of these people that I'll work through the August recess if we have substantive work to do, but the people of America want us to deal with the economy, want us to deal with health care, want us to deal with the issues that are really affecting their lives.
And you guys have now been working with the Trump administration, Republicans being now in the majority in the Senate. How has this been, over the past 6 months or so now in this first half to deal with the other side here?
Well, it's been frustrating to me. In Donald Trump's first term, I actually worked with him to get some of the biggest bills done that brought a real significant change to New Jersey, like the Opportunity Zone bill was one that I did with Senator Tim Scott in a bipartisan way that brought hundreds of millions of dollars of new investment into New Jersey. We worked together on the First Step Act, which liberated thousands of people from unjust incarceration. This is not that kind of administration. Now they're trying to do everything working around the legislature completely. This rescission packages and the CRs, these are all Washington speak, but really what it means is that Donald Trump more and more is trying to not find bipartisan ways forward and trying to find a way around the rules through the complicity of Republicans who seem to be just giving him everything that they want. Our Constitution designed our government to provide checks and balances, oversight, and real role for an equal branch of government, but we're not doing that here now. So again, I really am one of these people that believes in working together across the aisle. We've done that in the past, but this is really a president who's acting more like an authoritarian leader than really somebody who's part of a larger republic.
So as you guys know, you guys have been raising an alarm now for a while about President Trump's, what he calls the big, beautiful bill. You guys have especially been raising the alarm, like you mentioned earlier, about cuts to Medicaid. What more can you tell us about the specific impact to New Jersey?
Yeah, well, we've now seen this bill being analyzed by nonpartisan groups who've said, number one, it's going to blow $3.5 trillion in our deficit. Number two is it's not just millions losing Medicaid coverage, but because the insurance premiums are going to skyrocket up, he's defunding Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act, you're going to see millions more lose their health care. So this is the biggest defunding of health care we have seen that's going to leave millions of American families in crisis. In addition to that, it's the biggest taking away of the kind of feeding programs that we all believe in, whether it's SNAP or Meals on Wheels. This is a president who's basically said to low-income, working-class people who often rely on these programs in times of crisis that they're not going to do them. It's going to raise our energy costs. The average New Jerseyan is going to be paying hundreds of dollars more on their energy bills because of cuts. And the thing that's so frustrating, as we now see even through greater analysis, is it's the biggest transfer of wealth in our countries, at least in a century in our country, of taking things away from working and middle class Americans and giving them to the wealthiest Americans. And even some of the benefits, like those in the New Jersey, New York area who've been fighting to get our state and local tax deduction back, the things that might go to the middle class are temporary, while the tax cuts for the wealthiest people and the wealthiest corporations are made permanent. So this is really a screwing of the working person in New Jersey, of the middle class person in New Jersey, all to give more benefits to the wealthy. It's a really just unfair program that ultimately is going to put us trillions of dollars greater in debt too.
Republicans have argued that this is merely just creating stricter work requirements. Why is this still going to impact premiums, though, in states like New Jersey?
Well, two things. They've cut the Affordable Care Act's access portals and the kind of resources. Most New Jerseyans who were going on those portals got support for their health care premiums. That is being taken away. So it's money taken from you in order to give that your premiums are going to go up. And that's why so many people are going to say, wait a minute, I can't afford $1,000 premiums, and I'm just going to go without health insurance. That's why everybody's saying that about 10 million people could fall off just from that alone. Cutting Medicaid isn't just adding work requirements. It is doing other things, as New Jersey hospitals up and down have been telling me. The provider tax and other things are going to actually gut those programs that are going to make things much more difficult, and hospitals and others are going to have to cut their programs as a result. So that's why they're saying rural hospitals will close. Some of the hospitals in the tri-state area are really going to face a hardship of times. And so what the Republican talking points are, we know this from the first time Donald Trump did one of these tax cuts. The benefits go to the wealthiest, and the rest of the middle class workers do not see permanent benefits and get hits to their health care costs, to their energy costs, and unfortunately, in many cases, to the programs families rely on to make those ends meet around the kitchen table, often whether it's providing food or other benefits.
Now, Senator, you've also just recently introduced a bill that would force ICE agents to identify themselves. What kind of support does that have right now?
You know, it's a common sense bill. We again, in New Jersey, know every agency, from our state police to our FBI, everyone has to identify themselves. But now we have this kind of almost secret police-like, where they're covered. They're not even knowing. You can't even tell that they're police. They're driving up in unmarked cars, masked people, pulling people off of sidewalks, pulling people after supermarkets, pulling people off of job sites, and we don't even know who they are. That is an incredibly dangerous situation where somebody who's witnessing that could mistake them for criminals. In fact, we've now seen criminals claiming to be ICE that are not, because of what we're seeing out there. And so we just simply have something for every other law enforcement agency in the United States of America, from federal, state, county, local. They have to identify themselves for the safety and the common sense of our communities. And it's a simple bill. Now, right now, unfortunately, in the time of Trump, we don't have that much support on the other side of the aisle. There was a time, again, in my Senate career where pragmatism ruled. You could find people on the other side to work with on common sense things that will keep law enforcement safe and keep communities safe. But right now we don't have that. The bill's getting a lot of attention because of the things we're seeing in our community and ICE engaging in tactics that violate our common senses of decency and, frankly, unfortunately, that are really hurting a lot of our communities.
Now, ICE has said in the past that they've faced an uptick of assaults against ICE agents, and that's why many are masked to protect their identities. What's your response?
No other law enforcement agency makes that claim. These are law enforcement individuals who should stand up, be proud of the work they do, accountable to the people of the United States of America. You don't see that with ATF, that does difficult, often controversial work. You don't see that for the FBI, that's often going and doing stings against mob operations and you name it. But somehow they're making this assertion that our ICE agents are so delicate that they need that kind of protection. It is against the law to target any police officers. That is wrong, and it should be stopped. It's only Donald Trump that seems to pardon people that attack police. But in the United States of America, we stand up for our cops, we stand up for police, we stand up for law enforcement. They should not have to worry about that kind of stuff. Show us who you are for your safety as a law enforcement officer, as well as for the safety of our communities.
Now, the Department of Homeland Security has pledged to flood New York City and other Democratic cities with ICE agents. Do you think more ICE agents are needed in these cities? And if not, is there anything you guys can do to stop it?
If the government's going to be investing, federal government's going to be investing in our public safety, let's deal with the things that most threaten our communities. For gun violence is a great example. The ATF agents that I know are telling me how much starved their organization is being right now. But the number one killer for our young people in America is gun violence. So why are we taking away officers and resources to arrest people that have no criminal record, who often have American children or American spouses? Why are we allowing these agents now to disrupt our businesses, our churches, our schools? Even when people show up to their court proceedings, they're being raided and attacked then when they're trying to abide by the law. This immigration activity that we're seeing right now is not what he said he was. He said he was going to focus on the most violent people, people doing violence or doing crimes, and he's not, unfortunately. The majority of the people that they're rounding up are from families, from communities, or doing work that during the pandemic we called those jobs indispensable. We called those workers as vital to what was to our communities, and now we're seeing, unfortunately, us communities taking an economic hit as a result of that, including this fact that I'm hearing from the police officers in my state, which is they're having less victims of crime even being willing to come forward to help them stop burglaries and robberies because undocumented immigrants who are law-abiding in every other way are afraid to come forward and tell what's going on. Donald Trump is creating an environment that is less safe. He's stealing resources from other law enforcement agencies that are doing work that we need more of, like protecting us from gun violence. And unfortunately creating an environment in our communities that doesn't reflect our common decency or even what we think is fair.
Yeah. And switching gears just really quickly, in New Jersey, you guys have a really big governor's race coming up. You have Republican candidates Jack Ciattarelli and Democratic candidate Mikey Sherrill. What are your thoughts on the race? Are you going to be helping Sherrill campaign at all this fall?
Oh my gosh, I'll be all over the state for Mikey Sherrill. She's this former military helicopter pilot. She is one of the toughest human beings I've ever met. She has been an extraordinary congresswoman. She's worked actually in the Justice Department for the U.S. Attorney in the state of New Jersey. We haven't seen somebody this qualified running for governor, this kind of heroic actions in her military career. And I think she's the kind of person that can bring sensible, common sense policies to the state of New Jersey, a kind of fierce pragmatism, balanced, centrist kind of person that can bring New Jersey together at a time there are a lot of people that are trying to pit us against each other. So I'm going to be out there for Mikey Sherrill, doing everything I can to make sure she wins in November.
And I know you're a New Jersey senator, but many New Jersey residents work in New York City. So I just wanted to get quickly your take on the New York City mayor's race and Zohran Mamdani's win. Do you think that more Democrats should be supporting Mamdani? What are your thoughts on his win? Will you be supporting him?
I need help keeping track of New Jersey politics. Your politics are even more complicated over there. I need a flow chart. People lose in a Democratic primary and running it. So I'm staying out of your city. I'm focusing on my state. At the end of the day, I want to see a great mayor for the world's most important city next to Newark, New Jersey, and really make sure that whoever wins, ultimately we can work with in a constructive way to advance the cause of our region. We are maybe different states, New York and New Jersey, but we're so integrated. We need to make sure our economy thrives. And right now we're under assault by a Trump administration who is literally trying to take billions of dollars away from our region, who's making it harder to make ends meet by raising people's healthcare costs and their energy costs. This is the fight that I'm fighting right now. I'm going to stand up for Jersey. I'm going to be Jersey strong, and I know that Jersey united, we can actually fight forward and make a greater state for us. And our November elections is what I'm going to spend a lot of my time working on.
Well, quickly, some Democratic leaders, though, have said, that they're worried about how Mamdani's win could affect Democrats nationally, especially as you guys look to try to take back the House and the Senate. Do you agree with that sentiment?
There are literally hundreds and hundreds of mayors of major cities. I know we got a big ego in New York, but the Democratic Party, I think, has a lot to learn. I think they've made a lot of mistakes. I'm one of those people that's trying to help redeem the party and show that we can get back to the basics. I think the Democratic Party is less concerned about the Democratic Party and more concerned with the American people, about health care, about prosperity, economic growth, pathways to betterment, education, and training. Those are the things our party needs to get back to focusing on. And I think it's time for a new generation of leadership in the Democratic Party, and that's what I'm going to be fighting for in my state. That's why I support people like Mikey Sherrill. It's what I'm going to be fighting for here in the Senate, as we see a lot of new, younger senators starting to rise, and that's what I'm going to be fighting for the nation. America needs the Democratic Party to get back to working people, to the middle class, to public safety, to economic prosperity, and that's the gospel that I'm going to be talking about. Less about our party and more about redeeming the dream. We got to redeem the dream, the American dream, make it real for everybody.
Well, I cannot thank you enough, Senator, for spending so much time with me today. Thank you so much for answering all my questions. I look forward to having you back here to talk about, what's next, and especially as you guys look to the midterms next year. Thank you so much, Senator.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. I cannot thank you enough, Senator.
No, you rock.
It's been a pleasure.
We got to do this more often.
Please, yes. I would love to have you in studio too, so let me know anytime. Seriously.
Okay.
It's been such a pleasure to get to speak with you. Thank you again. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
I seriously appreciate it. Thank you so much, Senator.
All right. Thank you. Take care now.
Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.